Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Monday, April 28, 2025. Making the headlines tonight, PM discusses bilateral issues on phone call with Secretary Rubio. BNTU looking to mobilize. Former Education Minister says now is not the time. Additional cases of measles detected among close contacts of first cases. And Gales Point resident dies after bleeding out from pig bite. We take our first break and return with the news in detail. Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. Prime Minister John Bresenio this morning had a call with United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Multiple matters of bilateral interest were discussed, including the MCC 125 million US dollars grant to Belize. This morning, Foreign Minister Francis Fonseca, in an exclusive interview, told Creme News XTV that the call was weeks in planning and added that, as it relates to the MCC grant, they have not gotten any formal notice of its cancellation. He alluded to a reconfiguration of the MCC that now sees Rubio himself chairing the board of directors.
Let me first make it very clear that we have received no official formal notice of the cancellation of the MCC program. But obviously, we have seen reports of that, and it appears likely. Um, Again, this is a matter Prime Minister Briceño raised with Secretary Rubio, and he again pledged, and he is in fact the chair of the MCC. I think the new administration reconfigured the board. So he said that he would look into the matter and find out exactly what the situation was with in terms of Belize. So we'll have to wait and see there. Um, but yes, we're disappointed. I am disappointed. Um, Belize has done a lot of work. We spent, I think, more than 2 years preparing, working very closely with our MCC colleagues. Um, it's not something that Belize went looking for. The MCC funds came from the U.S. government. They're the ones who identified Belize, selected Belize. They're the ones who said, listen, Belize, you're on the right track in terms of governance reform, in terms of economic reform. You're on the right track. We want to help you. We want to support you. Obviously, when something like that um, is brought to an end abruptly without a proper explanation, um, then you're very disappointed. You're very disappointed. As we understand it, what has happened is that this new department created in the new administration, a department called the Department of um, Government Efficiency, I believe, DOGE. They have been given a mandate by the President of the United States to identify, areas where, to review all areas of spending in the government. And so they have, taken a very wide brush in terms of these areas. And they identified MCC as one area where they believe spending could be cut.
The government is still hopeful that Belize's MCC compact could continue. However, Fonseca accepts there is a likelihood it may not.
We hope that there's still an opportunity for this to be salvaged, for an opportunity for it to be reviewed, and we hope that the U.S. administration will take a critical look at it and understand and appreciate that these investments in education, investments in energy, are very much aligned with their priorities in terms of national security priorities, in terms of economic development priorities. So that's our hope. But in any case, if the program is halted and cancelled, we have already, as you pointed out, Prime Minister pointed out, we have a budget for education, a very good, strong budget. We will have to obviously target that budget more strategically to meet some of the challenges that we pointed out under the MCC. Same thing we'll have to do with energy. But we'll also have to go out and find more grant funding and low cost financing to address some of these critical areas that we want to address. So, we'll disappointing, but we'll find a way to get it done.
The U.S. Embassy issued a release on the phone call between the PM and Rubio, stating that Rubio recognized Belize's significant efforts to counter illegal immigration, support Haitian security efforts, and combat transnational organized crime. It revealed that they discussed tariffs and Belize's commitment to the ICJ process. The release also states, quote, additionally, Secretary Rubio committed to working with Prime Minister Briceño to strengthen the investment climate for U.S. firms in Belize, end quote. Minister Fonseca spoke about the expectations after the 90 days of reprieve on the 10% reciprocal U.S. tariffs expires.
Through CARICOM, we're working again to get more information on this program, on this proposal, this new policy. The U.S. administration has indicated that they will be providing more, clarity on it, exactly what it will do. They are themselves, as we understand it, reviewing that policy. They have already exempted certain products, but again, they're looking at that. Here in Belize, we, along with our work with CARICOM, because we've been fully engaged with CARICOM on this issue, discussing it at the highest levels. But locally, we've been preparing as well. I mean, we've had discussions, very good discussions with the private sector, with all the productive sector, with the Chamber of Commerce, everybody, so that people have an understanding of what's taking place. The Ministry of Foreign Trade has prepared a full briefing on this matter for Cabinet, prepared a briefing for the private sector. So those discussions are on the way. So it's really, at this point, it's really a wait and see to see whether or not further exemptions will be granted. One of the key concerns of CARICOM and obviously of Belize is the CBI, the ongoing relevance and preservation of the Caribbean Basin Initiative, which provides specific, special treatment, if you like, for duty-free access to the U.S. market for certain products. So we're very concerned about that. For example, sugar is a big one. So all of that is under review and under discussion.
Minister Fonseca said that Secretary Rubio committed to reviewing the matter with his counterparts, as he is not directly responsible on the issue of tariffs. In a recorded statement Sunday, Belize National Teachers Union President Nadia Martin Callis informed that members will decide at branch meetings on Wednesday how they will express their dissatisfaction regarding several issues they have been trying to work out with the government. The Council of Management is seeking input from members after it was revealed that government CEOs were given a salary increase of 15%, retroactive to March 13. The public workers are now asking for an 8.5% increase in phases.
You've emailed, texted, met me personally, and you communicate your frustration, and you've also shared that with your branch leaders. Now, as a responsible organization, we have decided that it is time for you to formally register that discontent. Again, being a responsible entity, we have notified our stakeholders of the action that we're about to take. Why? They are custodians of children. They need to know how to prepare on Wednesday. That memo that was sent out to our stakeholders in no shape or form is disrespectful. This is what we do when we're getting ready to register with discontent. We inform now. We need for you to come out in record-breaking numbers on Wednesday. You know why, members? You ask us for that platform to formally register your discontent. And the only way we can continue is if you go out and you vote and you give us the mandate. Tell us the direction you want us to go, because that is how the union operates when we're not happy. I say we because I'm a member of the union, especially you, the members. When you are not happy, because I'm not your leader, when you are not happy, you formally register that, you vote. Don't become discouraged because of that memo. You have a right. Now, how long will the meeting be? The meeting starts at 9. Your leaders will educate you on certain points. Then you get the opportunity to vote. I was surprised on Friday when I received calls from teachers who have been working, were being paid, met the criteria for a new license before the expiration date, but somebody at the ministry did not notify the treasury. So our teachers were kicked out of the system and they were not being paid. And this has been happening now for 2 months. That should never happen because we have an agreement. Whose fault is that? So nobody can tell me that my teachers don't love the children that they teach. I'm looking forward to seeing those halls packed on Wednesday.
We note that while the union wrote a memo to the Ministry of Education requesting time off for Wednesday so that all the teachers can meet, the ministry wrote back saying they had provided insufficient notice as per the education rules. It therefore advised the union to resubmit its request, providing a more adequate notice period so it can ensure, quote, proper arrangements are made by managing authorities and administrators to ensure the continuity of instruction, end quote. Not only that, the ministry told the union that the tone of its memo was disrespectful as it appeared to be a directive. Our reports are that the union maintains it did not disrespect anyone and will proceed with its branch meetings. It therefore appears that there is a breakdown with the new leadership in the ministry since the March 12th elections. Today, in our interview with Honorable Francis Fonseca, we asked if he is grateful he no longer has to deal with this kind of headache.
No. I never saw my work at education or my engagement with the BNTU as a headache. I always enjoyed interacting with the BNTU. I think we have, wonderful teachers in Belize. And I always understood the mandate of the union. They have their role and responsibility. So I hope that good sense prevails. I hope that the BNTU leadership and their members will understand and appreciate that the government of Belize, especially over the last 4.5 years, 5 years, has really tried to work very closely with them with respect, in good faith. We've tried to address all of their concerns. And yes, there are a number of outstanding issues that have to be resolved, but I'm absolutely confident that the people at the Ministry of Education are committed to working closely with them. So, demonstrations, protests, we understand that that is a right for unions, but we're coming to the end of the school year, next few months. This is a very critical time for students. So I would hope that the BNTU would appreciate that now is not the time for us to disrupt classes and have our students out of school. So let's sit at the table and resolve whatever differences we can without prejudicing the education.
We did point out to Fonseca that the joint unions, which represent the public sector workers, have been calling the government side to the table without success. He admitted the elections intervened.
I mean, we met with them right up to, I think, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks. About the last meeting was like 3 weeks before the elections. So even during the campaign period, I know we still met with them, and I know that the team, our joint negotiating team led by the Deputy Prime Minister, is fully prepared to engage with them, at any time. So, we're all about respect and good faith, and we hope that that is reciprocated.
In health news, the Ministry of Health today confirmed that 5 additional cases of measles have been detected among the close contacts of the first 2 imported cases confirmed on April 12. The additional cases were clinically confirmed between April 9 and 13. The ministry adds that 22 school contacts were identified, of which 12 are fully vaccinated, 5 are unvaccinated, and 4 had an unknown vaccination status. As part of its heightened surveillance, the ministry says it sent 14 samples for testing to Mexico, and all returned negative. It is concerning, however, that based on their own information, the ministry would have known about these 5 additional cases by the time they held their press conference on April 14. Yet at the time, they were only referencing the first 2 imported cases. In other news, Anthony Andrewen, a resident of Gales Point, Manatee, Belize District, tragically lost his life after being bitten by a pig and bleeding out due to a major artery being severed. Reports are that Andrewen was trying to chase out a pig that roamed into his yard when the pig became aggressive and bit him on the leg. He died while being transported for treatment. The pig was shot and burnt. The chairman of the village, Jason Altshaft, has indicated that some pig owners have been failing at keeping their animals penned. Andrewen is described as a hard-working and respectable resident. ACP Hilberto Romero gave the media an update today.
On Sunday, the 27th day of April 2025, police visited the Southern Regional Hospital. Upon their arrival, they saw the lifeless body of a male person. He was identified as Anton Andrewen. Investigation revealed that Andrewen was at Gales Point when he went to chase a pig that was causing or eating his plants. The pig attacked him and he received an injury. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
After the break, bushfire claims life of elderly man in Hattieville. Stay with us.
Hi there. Are you on your phone right now
A bushfire claimed the life of an elderly man in Hattieville Village on Saturday afternoon. Reports are that fire personnel had gone out to try to bring the fire under control, and they subsequently came across the remains of the elderly man who was unable to escape in time. He was identified as 63-year-old Gerald Hamilton. Gladstone Buckner, the Belize District Station Officer at the National Fire Service, provided an update on the fire and spoke about the challenges of fighting fires in the villages.
We received a call around 1:51 that day. The guys that responded, on their arrival at the location, they observed a wooden structure, probably about 10 by 15, completely destroyed by fire. However, it's sad to say that there were one person inside the building at the time and perished under the fire.
It started as a bushfire?
Yes, it started as a bushfire that leads to the structure fire.
Something that was intentionally set, though.
That one is also right now under investigation. The guy went out. They were out in bushfire at the time. He was fatigued. He went inside and he was sleeping, and the investigator haven't come back and said yes, that the fire actually run towards the building and started the fire.
So the deceased was out there?
Early in the morning. The department, along with the ministry, they are looking into putting in fire stations throughout the villages, particularly Hattieville and probably through Boom area. They're looking at that, haven't confirmed as yet, but that's one of the main areas they're looking at. Bushfire play a tremendous, actually caused a lot of fire, especially if you remember the one in PG, just by bushfire alone, caused so many.
Beloved fast food entrepreneur, 34-year-old Skylar Williams from Belmopan, passed away on Saturday after being involved in a traffic accident. The incident occurred after 4 p.m. on George Price Boulevard while he was riding his motorcycle. Accompanying him was 26-year-old Chelsea Nicholson. Reports are that on turning to head to a supermarket, he clipped the left front portion of a van traveling in the opposite direction. Williams died shortly after. The police say the investigation has not yet revealed which driver was at fault.
Then on Saturday, 26th of April 2025, there was a fatal road traffic accident on the George Price Boulevard in Belmopan. Police visited the area where they saw a motorcycle and a van with damages. Information is that a motorcycle was being driven by Skylar Williams, who had a passenger with him, and the van was being driven by Teresa Reyes. At some point, they collided. Skylar Williams was taken for treatment where he succumbed to his injuries. An investigation is being carried out into this report.
Is it leaning towards any one of the two drivers being at fault?
The investigation will determine that. The file will be prepared and then a decision will be made who is at fault.
The mother of two of Williams' children, Jody Domingo, said after seeing a Facebook post of a motorcycle incident in Belmopan, she decided to check on him. She said after seeing an attached video, she realized that it was Williams. She said he was a very energetic and well-loved person and a wonderful father to their children.
Then I saw the video, but I only saw like his foot and somebody laying on the ground. And I didn't even get to see that until I watched the video again, that it was his cousin in the background. It's just from looking at the person on the ground, I kind of, got that. So I just started to call the number to like ensure that it was not him. And his cousin answered indeed. So he explained to me, he can't come to the phone. They already done me the work for now, and he passed away. Skylar was a lot of energy. He was so business-minded. I spent about 8 years together and then 14 years of knowing him. And from the first time I met him, he always about how I could make an extra dollar, how I could make this money. I know his family had a love for food. And that's how I met him. Like, he cooked for me, and I like, you know what, this is really good. Like, you could do food. He was dedicated, and because I had my two boys and he knew that he had to deliver and make sure ends meet. He made sure he kept that grind even on days that he wasn't feeling his best.
And how was he as a father?
A father. Man, Skylar, I was like taken aback as how quick he took on that role, because my first child came pre-May, right? And the way how he'd drive the police behind an ambulance if he come to the hospital because he was a premature baby, right? And he took that on very easily, and it was love. My boys loved him so much.
Williams' mother, Danette Eligio, said she was calm when she got the news of his passing. She explained she had just had an intense conversation with her son.
I was actually just calm because a few days before, it was on the Thursday, Skylar and I had a pretty intense conversation, and he shared very intimate details about himself in that conversation and how he was viewing life at the time. So I believe through the conversation, through messages that I had received from God, that prepared me for the moment. So I found myself at peace.
And describe Skylar, I mean his personality, how will he be remembered?
Skylar will be remembered as a person with a huge personality, a bubbly individual, a kind-hearted person, one who loved life, who honestly lived it on his own terms. He will be remembered as a person who shared his heart, a person who gave of himself until the very last, an amazing dad, great friend, loving brother, an awesome son.
A Mexican construction worker identified as Ever Torres fell to his death Saturday afternoon at his work site in the area of Secret Beach on Ambergris Key. Reports are that Torres fell several meters from the frame of a building being constructed. He sustained severe head injuries and was pronounced dead on arrival. At the San Pedro Polyclinic, ACP Gilberto Romero told the media today that police are awaiting the results of a post-mortem examination.
Okay, then on Saturday, the 26th of April 2025, police responded to a report in San Pedro where information was received that a person that was working on a building had fallen to the ground. Police visited the area where they saw the lifeless body of one Pedro Torres, a Mexican national with injuries. Information is that he was working at a building when he fell. His body was taken and is awaiting a post-mortem examination.
Police are investigating the death of a Canadian tourist who reportedly fell from the third-floor balcony of the Watermark Hotel, located in the Tres Cocos area of San Pedro and Ambergris Key. He has been identified as 47-year-old Lauren Dale Radchenko. His body was discovered after 8 a.m. Sunday. Surveillance footage shows him falling at around 7:53 a.m. Reports are that he checked into the hotel Saturday night when he was accompanied by a woman. Later on, two men visited the room. They and the woman left the room at around 5 a.m. ACP Gilberto Romero today confirmed that the group was drinking.
Okay, on Sunday, the 27th day of April 2025, around 8:20 a.m., police responded to the discovery of a body outside of the Watermark Hotel in San Pedro. Upon the arrival, they saw the lifeless body of a male person with head injuries. He was later identified as Lauren Radchenko, Canadian national. Information is that Lauren was staying at the hotel for the night. Then his body was discovered in the yard outside of the room. An investigation is being carried out. Several persons have been brought in for interview.
Was he in the company of anyone prior
Yes, we have information that he was in a company of other persons at the room, but they left sometime during the night.
Have they been drinking?
Yes, that's the information we have. Yes, they had been drinking.
After the break, BTV unbothered on annual commemorative trip to Gracias a Dios. Stay tuned.
20 years ago, we built a company that is about
The Belize Territorial Volunteers on Saturday embarked on their annual trip to Gracias a Dios Falls off the Sarstoon River to commemorate the April 30, 1859 boundary treaty between the British and Guatemala. With the trip, the BTV highlights the history of territorial demarcation activities held in 1860 and 1861 when a limestone pyramid was erected on the north bank of the Sarstoon River at the rapids at Gracias a Dios. Another such monument was subsequently erected at Garbut Falls. BTV leader Will Mejia informed that the BDF provided escort for them. They departed Punta Gorda just before 8 a.m. and returned by 4 p.m. Mejia reported that they had a successful trip and were not harassed by the Guatemalan armed forces. The volunteers paid tribute to 3 individuals during their visit by planting a tree in their honor. One was Orlando Williams, a surveyor who pointed out the borderline to them, Alistair King, who has always assisted with fuel, and Hector Bejarano, who first assisted in locating the border marker. A block party has been organized in celebration of pilot Howell Grange. It will be held on Labor Day, Thursday, May 1st from 2 p.m. through 6 p.m. on Bachelor Avenue in West Landover in Belize City. The event has been organized as a community event by the Honorable Kareem Musa Constituency Committee. Everyone is invited to go out with their families in recognition of Grange's heroic actions on Holy Thursday when he used his wit to best the hijacker of his Tropic Air flight and safely landed the aircraft just as it was about to run out of fuel. The 15 passengers on board are eternally grateful to Grange, whose decisive actions safeguarded their lives and prevented what could have been a major calamity in Belize's aviation history. 29 new midwives have been certified after completing studies of 15 months at the University of Belize. They will now be deployed to different hospitals and clinics across the country to assist expecting mothers, having gained expertise of quality maternal and child health care. Apart from having to complete multiple hours in a clinical setting, the nurses must have carried out at least 30 deliveries. Nurse Melinda Guerra works at the university overseeing the practical evaluation for the midwives program within the Belize district. She ensures that the nurses can properly apply the knowledge gained. She sat down with the hosts, Casey from the university's Fridays on the Lawn show.
Nurses, they were able to attain all the knowledge and of course the skills at the University of Belize. You all have a lab there, and now for me it's to see how they applied the skills, the knowledge, how we bring it to life when we are monitoring patients, we are managing women who are in labor, because at the end of the day, we want a healthy mother and a healthy baby. Right. So I spent hours and hours with them day and night, where we actually monitor women who are in labor, and it could be women who are first babies or women who have already given birth. In some instances, women end up delivering by C-section, but our priority, was to deliver, normal vaginal
What
delivery.
would you say?
Actually, nurses that we had right now are very committed, and they were well versed, well competent with their skills. They were very compassionate with the patients. They were even able to attend to the psychological needs of the patient. At all times they ensured that the patient, once they had a companion, for that person to be in the unit with them, in the delivery area with them.
20 companies have finalized an HIV and AIDS workplace policy with guidance from the Labor Department. A closing ceremony was held Friday at the Belize Biltmore Plaza to mark the successful completion of the HIV and AIDS Workplace Policy Development Program. The department says this demonstrates the company's commitment to leadership and to building inclusive, safe, and non-discriminatory work environments in Belize. It adds, quote, "These organizations are now better equipped to respond to HIV and AIDS in the workplace with compassion, understanding, and concrete action," end quote. The program included a series of training sessions held throughout March and April 2025 in Belize City, Cayo, and Stan Creek, the three areas most impacted by HIV. The program was held in partnership with the National AIDS Commission, Ministry of Economic Transformation, Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Go Joven Belize. Participants learned about prevention, testing, treatment, and care, as well as the importance of reducing stigma and fostering open communication. According to the Labor Department, a major outcome of the program was the development of tailored workplace policies that promote respect, dignity, and equal opportunity for all. The department notes that despite medical advancements, stigma and discrimination remain significant barriers to care, and these challenges affect not only individuals but also workplaces, communities, and national development goals. Ministers from the Central American region on Saturday participated in the 93rd Extraordinary Meeting of CIRSA, which is the Regional International Committee for Agricultural Health. CIRSA, like its parent organization, or IRSA, has a mandate to ensure pests and diseases are controlled and eradicated in all countries in the region. Belize's Minister of Agriculture, Jose Abelardo May, currently holds the presidency of CIRSA, which is rotated among Central American ministers of agriculture. The top priority on their agenda was the control and eradication of the New World screwworm, given that no Central American country has been spared of the disease, which continues to spread. At the meeting, each minister provided a report on the status of the infestations in their respective countries. They analyzed the region's response, monitoring, and control, as well as best practices, challenges, and opportunities to enhance the response. At last count, Belize had 50 cases of screwworm. Our first case was detected at the end of December 2024. And following the news Thursday of smoke in the J&W area of Belmopan due to burning for the purpose of land clearing at a development site, the Belmopan City Council issued a notice reminding residents that burning refuse or waste within city limits or up to 1 mile of its limits is prohibited. The council further notes that anyone found burning refuse in those areas can be fined up to $5,000. Instead, everyone is advised to dispose of refuse in a responsible manner by using designated waste collection services and adhering to proper waste management practices. The council emphasizes the need to maintain a clean and healthy environment. We note that the developer indicated it was a controlled fire conducted while schools were closed during the Easter and they had water trucks on standby. They also shared they had obtained a permit from the Department of the Environment and burned overnight. And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on this station later tonight at 9 and again tomorrow at midday. Join us again tomorrow for another news broadcast. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable evening.